Good evening, LCS fans. My name is Austin. Joining me tonight is 100 Thieves superfan
Hello.
Dmitri. And this is another episode of the CounterPicked LCS podcast. We're going to dive right in. We're going to talk about Week 6, day number 1. We're going to talk about all the big games that happened today. Let's start with the first one. Big implications for these two teams who were in last, trying to make that last-second playoff push starting this week. We had Clutch. We had 100 Thieves. Let's let the superfan take the
right
floor.
here.
100
Love
Thieves
100
superfan
Thieves.
Dmitri.
This is the
Tell
game
me
of the
about
week.
what you saw
Got
today.
it out of the way early, unfortunately. Wish this was on Sunday.
Interesting.
But
I believe some of our viewers might disagree.
the game didn't go exactly how I predicted. I predicted the 100 Thieves win. Really happy we got it. I thought they'd look a little bit more dominant, but despite their weaknesses in the early game, they looked really unorganized. But despite all that, they did a great job of recognizing that their Ezreal and Riven can carry this game if they just stall it out long enough. The Ezreal's tiers to come online and Riven to finish at least 3 items. And they did that. They absolutely succeeded that. Once the late game power spike started to come online, they capitalized on their power and took constant fights. They took good fights. They took bad fights. They just fought all the time. And because their team comp was just better at it, they won the majority of these fights and it ended up winning them that game.
Interesting numbers for you. At 15 minutes, 100 Thieves was down 5k gold.
Big deficit.
At 18 minutes, Ando was down 3 levels.
Wow.
Okay, on the opposing jungler. It's crazy that 100 Thieves was able to claw their way back into this game. I'm not sure if 100 Thieves won this game or if Clutch lost this game.
I'd say 100 Thieves won this game. They recognized that they were playing poorly and they just stopped. They stalled. They collected. they said, we suck. Let's stop sucking. And they did. And they just sat down, shut up, farmed, waited for their late game picks to come online.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. They did a great job of stalling out. Phenomenal job. I think they recognized that, hey, we are losing.
It's
terribly.
8-0.
We are in an awful spot right now, and we just need to kill time.
Yep.
We need to play for later, and they did that. Having said that, I'm not convinced that 100 Thieves is a playoff team at the moment, but we'll see. Next game of the day.
Keeping it rolling.
We had TSM Echo Fox. All right, This game was a lot closer than I think a lot of people might have imagined it being.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I expected TSM to just do their early game aggression, blowout type play style. Mm-hmm. Not what happened. Surprisingly, Echo Fox looked amazing in the early game with Panda instead of Rush. They played a really team-based play style. They moved around the entire map from bot lane 3v3s to dragon fights to a 3v2 in the top lane. The whole map in the early game. They played fantastically. Hakuo's Galio, also a big point. He played that pick and utilized his semi-global ultimate fantastically. But then TSM started doing their best 100 Thieves impression, stalled for their Ezreal's double tier build to finish, and won with the map play. It was sloppy from TSM in their win. They had Bjergsen and Broken Blade on their Ryze and LeBlanc, split pushing constantly. And while they applied pressure, the remaining members of TSM would go for Baron and Elder Dragon plays. And off this map pressure is how they won the game. It was not clean, though.
Not clean indeed. Very sloppy. I don't believe Bjergsen played the LeBlanc as most of us might have expected him to as an assassin. He really was, just like you said, a split pusher along with Broken Blade, who did an excellent job of split pushing. Broken Blade did on that Ryze, just as intended. Did finish 0-4. The better top laner did win that game. But TSM, look, they didn't look as hot as I thought they would. I've been up here saying that they're the best team in NA. I might have to take a step back after this close win against Echo Fox today, but they came out, they got the job done, and you know what? They probably did spend more time prepping for tomorrow in that actual game of the week, and they might have overlooked Echo Fox a little bit. I think we'll see tomorrow. If TSM's able to beat Cloud9, I think that'll confirm that they just kind of overlooked Echo Fox a little bit, and that's why they came out slow in this match.
We're going to have to wait and see till tomorrow for that.
We are. And their opponent tomorrow is Cloud9, who today played Golden
Guardians. C9 took that win, as
This,
I had predicted.
they did. This was a rather good game for the most part. We saw Froggen on LeBlanc, just as Bjergsen had played a game prior, except Froggen was playing like an assassin.
Yes.
He roamed early bot,
Set
got
up
a
bush
kill,
ganks against Sneaky.
picked up a couple there, actually. Yeah, he was playing that champion like an assassin. Sneaky played well early, I believe.
Sneaky's Tristana had a huge impact on the early game objective control.
And Sneaky's Tristana late game had a great impact on just taking down objectives, taking turrets, inhibs, every structure, any kind of objective. The Tristana pick was huge, I think, for Cloud9.
Yeah, I'd say I was surprised to see Cloud9 draft a team comp that was weaker in the early game than Golden Guardians. Cloud9 normally likes to draft the strong early game and went off snowballing their leads. So I was a little shocked in that regard. But what they did with it was absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. They had that early deficit, but that was because of the draft. It's how they managed to take 100% control of the map and make every proactive decision in the game despite the deficit. And then I believe what got them that win is at one point Hanser soloed the Ocean Dragon, and as soon as that dragon was slain, C9 said, we're grouped as 5 mid, they're grouped as 4 mid, one of them is definitely at the Dragon Pit. They snapped and engaged immediately, won the fight before Hanser even showed up, took a Baron right off that, end of the game minutes later.
Yeah, I think it was just some veteran shot calling there by Cloud9 to be able to pick up that Hanser wasn't with the team, wasn't going to be able to join them, and go ahead, win that fight, take that Baron buff, and push that end.
And a very dominant showing from Cloud9. I would be scared tomorrow if I was TSM.
Very, but it's going to be a great game tomorrow.
Really
I think. We saw a win today by both those teams, which is good, which means they're both on some serious win streaks heading into this matchup. It makes it all the more exciting, and I think we're all looking forward to that tomorrow. The last two games today weren't as great as the first three.
Not as
but
a
we'll
spectator.
Start with them. We'll start with FlyQuest CLG.
FlyQuest CLG, not much to say here. I think this game was just an absolute fiesta, including the draft phase. FlyQuest banned 2 top laners. Neither of those top laners were Jax. I don't know why they chose to ban top laners, but leave the Jax open. And then on top of that, CLG 5th picked their top laner. I don't know why they'd save top lane for 5th pick, seeing as that was not a counter pick. They could have picked their top laner much earlier in the draft. I feel like it was a misplay on both. Other than that, Darshan did Darshan. Classic Jax split push kind of carried the game.
It was great to see Darshan back on his OG Jax, back from the Zion Spartan days, back in those Team Coast Reckon days. I think he's really to thank for CLG's win today. Had a great laning phase. Just played the champion extremely well. Not much more to say on that game, though. I think FlyQuest a little disappointing if you're a FlyQuest fan. You didn't want to lose to CLG. You didn't want to lose to a 4-6 team coming into today.
It's going to hurt their playoffs, for sure.
It is. It will. It kind of clumps them back just in that middle of the pack. You know, they were a game up. They were in 4th.
Even further tightens the race for playoffs. Yeah, it's much closer now.
Back in that mix. So we'll see. It'll shake things up. Final game of the day was Liquid Optic.
That game.
This one,
that was Liquid playing their classic suffocating playstyle and doing it perfectly.
Yes.
I predicted Optic to take this upset win. Weren't even close. Didn't really put up a fight. Liquid had complete control of the game from minute 1. Didn't let go of it till the Nexus fell. Just a dominating victory.
Absolutely brutal. I don't think it would have mattered if Optic played Dardoch, Meteos, Big Gate. I don't think it would have mattered whoever they decided to sub in or out. I think Liquid was just going to play that suffocating play style. Their 5 players were going to be better than Optic's 5 players no matter what, and they showed that today. They showed that they are the first team in the standings, and they've pretty much locked up with this win a top 2 seed, I would imagine. You have TSM 3rd with 7 wins. Right now, Liquid has 10.
I don't know. They have to play against both Cloud9 and TSM in the second half of this round robin. If they drop those games, they might fall to second.
Absolutely true. But what I'm saying is either way, I believe they're first or second. I don't think they're going to fall to third. I think they're going to get that first or second seed come playoff time.
Yep.
I think they did too well in the first half of the split. I think they're playing too well now
very good.
to lose enough games to drop down below that. That was day one of week 6. We saw some good games. We saw some games. We did see a lot of interesting games that impacted the playoff race. We saw some games that kind of cemented the top tier teams as actually being the top tier teams.
We saw some amateur players from the academy scene come up and play on stage, and we saw some interesting champion picks this week too. It was a great day for LCS.
It really was a great day. And tomorrow should be great as well. We've got some great games on tap, including that one we've been talking about, Cloud9 TSM. That's going to be 5 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. We've got a couple great games on schedule, all impacting the playoff race. If you'd like to ask us a question, if you'd like us to talk about anything in particular, you can go to our Twitter. All right, you can follow us at CounterPickedGG. Okay. You can tweet at us using the hashtag CounterQ. That's the word counter and the letter Q. Ask us any question you want, and we can answer it on the next episode of our CounterPicked podcast. We're hoping to get another upload tomorrow night with the reaction for day 2 of week 6.
Be on the lookout for that.
Be on the lookout for that, covering all those games. We're going to live tweet the games tomorrow. You can follow us again at CounterPickGG on Twitter, our individual Twitter accounts, which are also on screen throughout this episode. And you can join our Discord, which the link will be below in the description. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.